Hi, my name is Mr. Clayton. I'm the Vice Principal in charge of teaching and learning at the school. And I want to start by wishing all of our students and their families a really happy new year. Now, I'm recording this video on Monday afternoon, so the circumstances around schools and school opening may have changed by the time you watch this. However, the information that follows will be useful regardless of the exact circumstances, and the guidance I'm about to go through here will remain broadly the same. I think the most important thing to stress is that all of the staff at KAA are committed to making sure that the disruption at the beginning of this term doesn't have an adverse impact on our students and their success. Now, there are two really important aspects of school life that we think are threatened by school closure. The first is obviously the structure and routine that students need to succeed in their learning. And the second is that sense of community they get from coming to school, all the small day-to-day interactions with each other and their teachers that make KAA such a special place to learn. That's why we want to try and replicate as much of these things as possible when students are working from home. And so as a school community, we're not talking about KAA being closed. We're talking about the fact that KAA is open, it's just happening at home for a while. So let's start with the idea of structure. We know that it's so important for students to get themselves up, get themselves dressed, get themselves washed, eat a really good breakfast, and follow a formal timetable. That kind of structure in their day is a crucial part of making this remote learning work. Now, we know that all of our students are Intrepidus. We know that all of our students are resilient, and so that this won't be an issue for the vast majority of our learners. However, there may be, after the Christmas break, one or two students who would benefit from a little nudge towards their desk and towards their work. And we want to say thank you very much to parents for getting them there and getting them logged on. When they do log on, they'll be greeted with an email from their Director of Learning. And that's going to briefly summarise what lays ahead in the day. It will summarise the lessons they have. It will give them any important information or any important updates. And that kind of speaks to a really important habit we need all students to get into, which is checking their emails every day and making sure that they're sort of in touch with their teachers in that way. Now, what happens at that point and the structure of students' days differs slightly depending on which year group they're in. If you're in Key Stage 3, so in Year 7, 8 or 9, you will be following the KAA at Home timetable. This is the same timetable for every year group in Key Stage 3. You can see that there are plenty of breaks built in. We know that people need some time away from their devices. And now is a good time to say not to worry too much if students don't have immediate access to a laptop. We are going to make sure that the recorded lessons are going to work on phones and tablets, and you'll be able to access your recorded lessons in exactly the same way you would be able to through a Chromebook. Worth as well drawing your attention to Monday period 4, Wednesday period 4, and Friday period 4, which here are designated as catch-up, reading or tutor periods. This is space we built into the timetable for one-to-one conversations, additional interventions, maybe some catch-up with the tutor at individual level. But for the vast majority of students, this will be time they have to themselves to work independently. So to catch up on work that they may have fallen behind with, maybe to do some independent reading and take part in our reading challenges, or maybe just to take a break for the computer and go and get some fresh air. For Key Stage 4 and 5 students, so that's students in Year 10, 11, 12 and 13, they will be following their normal timetable, so as if they were in school in normal times. And most students will know that by heart at this point in the year. If they've forgotten or aren't sure, it will be in their planner. Now, this is the most important message to hear from this video. Your lessons at Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5 are completely live. They will happen in real time, and your teachers will be waiting for you on the Google Meet at the lesson start time. So please treat logging on to those Google Meets as you would do arrival to the classroom. Be punctual and be ready to learn. We know you're going to be there on time. Don't let us down. Thank you very much. All of us are going to be using Google Classroom a lot over the next couple of weeks, and it's been a while since we've used it so intensively. So just to blow away a few of those cobwebs, I'm going to go through a few reminders about how to access your lessons for all year groups. So the advice that follows is applicable to everybody. The first stage is that you log on through your Chrome browser. Now, this is the most common mistake. If you are trying to access Google Classroom with a different email that isn't your KAA email, you won't be able to gain access to the documents and platforms you need to. So make sure you're logging into Chrome with your KAA email and with your normal KAA password. What you do then is click the Google Suite icon. That's these 9 squares in the right-hand corner of your browser. And when you click that, you will see Classroom as one of the icons. Click on the Classroom and it will take you to this page. Now, this page basically is the equivalent of all your classrooms laid out in front of you, and each box represents a different subject. So if you click on your maths classroom, it's like walking through the door of your maths classroom. If you click on your English room, same thing. It's like walking through the door and being greeted by your English teacher. Now, I'm going to use this example classroom just to show you how the platform will present your lessons. So when you click on the classroom, what you'll be taken to is a page with all of the information you need about your learning in that subject. And you'll see all of the work that your teachers are setting laid out really, really clearly in the classwork tab at the top. On the main feed and on the mainstream, you'll see the assignments that your teacher is posting. And you can see here that Mr. Edwards, my fictional teacher, has posted me a new assignment. That's my week 1, lesson 1 lesson. And if I click on that, I'll be taken to the lesson page. Now, for Key Stage 3 students, this is really, really simple. You'll find the video attached there, which you watch, and your teacher will guide you through what to do, pausing in the video as they go, and all you need to do is follow those instructions. Please make sure you watch the video in full. Don't skip through it. Don't fast forward. The teachers are going to record it in a way that makes the lessons really, really clear and make sure you know exactly what you need to be completing. I need to just give a message to all Key Stage 3 students now about the hand-in function. This does apply to Key Stage 4 students too. If you see on the right-hand side here, as part of your lesson, you may be allocated a personalised Google Doc. That means it's your individual copy. And the way I like to think about this is that that is almost like your exercise book for this lesson. Now, one problem we've had in the past is that students will work really hard on this doc through the lesson and then forget to hand it in. And it's essential that when you finished your work, you click that blue button you can see in the red square there. So that's the equivalent of you handing your exercise book to your teacher at the end of the lesson so they can see what you've done and give you credit for it and give you feedback on it. Please don't forget that stage in your work. For Key Stage 4 lessons, there is another part of Google Classroom you need to be familiar with, and that's your Google Meet link. This is where you're going to need to click to join the Meet on time at your normal timetabled lessons. Now, Google Classroom is really clever. It generates a Meet link for each classroom. So underneath the title of your classroom, you'll see the Meet link generated there automatically. Click on there and your teacher will be ready to greet you at the scheduled time. So thank you for getting yourselves there on time and using that Meet link in the Google Classroom. So we're really excited about making KAA at Home a success. It's not ideal, but we do think that we can make sure we get our students through this period with minimal disruption to their learning. Just a few final thoughts in terms of making it a success as a school community. First is cameras on. It's very standard practice now right across society when we meet using video conferencing facilities that cameras are on. It will make the lessons so much better. So thank you very much in advance to students for putting those on, and thank you to parents for reinforcing this expectation. Secondly, we know how important feedback is for students, and we know what an important consideration students getting proper feedback is for parents. I want to reassure you that all of the work they're going to be set is based around giving students regular feedback on the work they submit. Broadly speaking, all students will receive regular weekly class feedback videos from their teacher on the work that they've submitted. And teachers will be looking for common misconceptions, highlighting excellent work, and outlining targets in terms of the next steps of students making progress. and this will happen after any substantive piece of work that students produce. It may well be, particularly at Key Stage 4 and 5, for those students with exams coming up, that there's more personalised feedback as well on what they do. It goes without saying that if a student needs help or support, they shouldn't hesitate to contact or email their teacher. Thirdly, our culture remains strong even though we're not in the building. So students will be receiving merits and commendations for demonstrating our core values. Expectations around behaviour and conduct remain really high, and any instances of poor behaviour or poor conduct online will be taken very, very seriously. The last thing is just to draw your attention to the KAA at Home tab on the web page. When you go to the KAA homepage, you'll see at the top in turquoise these links. If you click on the KAA at Home, you'll be taken to a really useful page, which is going to help you address a few things that might come up. The first is the support button there for any technical support. So if you have issues with password resets or access to Chromebooks, that's the place to click. And the second thing is the Intrepidus learning section. By clicking there, you will find a whole host and wealth of resources that departments have uploaded. And that's the place to go if your son or daughter gets to the end of their timetabled work and feels like they still want to learn. So if you get to the point in the day where you want something extra for students to work on, that's the place to click, the Intrepidus Learning. And there's still time to get involved in our Winter Reading Challenge. Details are on there in the Intrepidus Learning tab. There's still time to complete our Winter Stretch project. So plenty there for students to get on with if they make it through their set work. So thank you. Let's make KAA at Home as big a success as we can. I want to say a big thank you to students for their resilience, a big thank you to parents and carers for their ongoing support through these uncertain times. And if you have any urgent queries about their learning, please contact your student's Director of Learning in the first instance. Thanks very much for listening. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope all students get on with their learning really well from tomorrow. Good luck.